All right, hello, and welcome to my show. This time we're going to do it live. So, I haven't been here in a while. The situation is becoming more and more grim. Here in Los Angeles, people are afraid. Everybody's afraid right now in Los Angeles. At least from my own experience, because people know that it's getting really, really bad. Now, partly it's to blame on the media that is concluding that these variants are more transmissive. They could be, but I've yet to have seen the experiments to prove so. So it's very suspicious for the media and the governments to be saying that this is more transmissive when they haven't used the right methods to prove so. For example, why can't they compare the RNA shedding of the new variant to the older ones? That would be like a simple way to prove it, but they haven't done that. And now we're hearing reports that these new variants could cause problems with testing. So the tests become unreliable. And here in Los Angeles, people are waiting hours to get into a hospital. The ambulances are just constantly going by, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all day. I see it happening all the time. Oxygen's running low. People who are not gonna make it, they don't even take them to the hospital. They just pretty much say that that's too bad because they have to ration their resources because there's too many people getting sick. And there was a story that came out a couple of days ago where in one of the hospitals here, a worker at the hospital was trying to uplift the spirits of the doctors and nurses because the situation is just so horrible, and he came dressed up as a Christmas tree, and it turns out that his suit has a fan that keeps the suit full with air, and it turns out he had the virus and he ended up spreading particles all over the place and he infected like 50 workers, and he ended up dying himself. So that, you have a guy that was trying to uplift people's spirits, and he makes it worse, and it cost him his life. And the vaccines are falling behind. I think last week, the U.S. was expecting 20 million doses or vaccinations, and they're at 1 million, so they're falling very, very behind. There are vaccines sitting in freezers, just sitting there, not doing anything. There are people who are refusing to take the vaccines, but I don't blame them because the vaccines are emergency use and they are rushed, and it's not very clear what the side effects are. But at this point, we need people to take them. And if you want to wait and see what happens, wait and see what happens. I don't blame you. I'm waiting myself. I'm not going to take it anytime soon because I want to see what effect it has on the population in the coming months because nobody knows. And so that will be very interesting because nobody knows how long immunity will be. And one of the things that people need to burn into their brain is that this vaccine does not make you invulnerable. This vaccine is only supposed to prevent disease. And so you can still catch it and spread it. So people need to keep that in mind because I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing people who are saying, "Oh, I don't need to do anything because I have the vaccine." And that's not how the vaccine works. And so if you look at the numbers, we'll go by yesterday's numbers because I haven't been here in a while. So the USA, if you kept up with things, is breaking records. They have been approaching 4,000 deaths a day. 300,000 cases in one day. That's horrible. UK is also hitting records with almost 70,000 cases a day at that over 1,000 deaths. Brazil is approaching or already in wave 2, so we were all expecting that. Germany also blowing up at the top. And Spain I don't even trust Spain. They have very sketchy numbers. And so in South Africa is picking. So if we go to deaths, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries reporting over 1,000 deaths. Mexico being among one of them. And Italy, South Africa, not too far behind. So the numbers are more consistently bad. And there's just no slowing down to this. It just keeps increasing and getting worse. If we look closely at the USA yesterday. Wait, did I go to Germany? Yeah, I went to Germany. Yeah, Germany was one of those countries that was so sure they would be safe, and it turns out they're not. I mean, it all started, if you remember, if you recall, a couple of months ago, it kind of started with the slaughterhouse infections. And Odometers is loading very slowly. So in the U.S. is, anyways. So the U.S. we have Again, I told you all months ago that this is going to happen. California is number one. I could have sworn it was higher than this. Oh, yeah, because that's today. So yesterday, yeah, California was number one with 50,000 new cases, 679 new deaths. I think that's a record. Texas blowing back up again, 24,000 cases in one day, 466 deaths. Florida, 19,000 cases, 184 deaths. New York going back up again. Illinois, Ohio, Georgia, Pennsylvania. List goes on and on and on and on. So if you go to California, right here where I'm at, in the epicenter, so we have Los Angeles, 18,000 new cases, 318 new deaths. That's not good at all. Second, the LA is Riverside, and then Orange, and then San Diego. So that's kind of where we're at, and as you can see, it's just there's no brakes on this ride. The charts are just off the charts. It's still early. I can't really go over today's numbers, so we're gonna go over some news. We're gonna do it live. Now I know that the Guardian does do good summaries, so I'll go through the Guardian and see what's going on at this moment in time. So, in London, 16 arrests were done by Metropolitan Police. Imagine being arrested for resisting a lockdown. That's embarrassing. Brazil, yeah, Brazil is going back up again, and it's a weekend too. So 62,000 new cases and 1,000 new deaths in Brazil. As they had a really brutal first wave, it went down for a bit, and now it's spiking back up again. Yeah, vaccines being delivered. Yeah, so schools are not. It's not. Schools are not possible anywhere right now. We have to go online. There's no choice. If schools resume, you're gonna see what happened in South Africa, and so we learned months ago what would happen if the schools didn't close. South Africa was the example. Hundreds of thousands of students and teachers got infected, but nobody cared. Nobody talked about it. Nobody talked about it, and it's worse today than it was back then. So they got to resort to online courses. There's no other choice. Okay, so I get it, vaccines, yeah, but I'm not gonna jump up and shout because we got them because we don't know how effective they are. So I'm not saying they aren't. They could be. It's just nobody knows. I don't understand why the Guardian does small, irrelevant updates like this. What's the point? So too many children are returning to school despite the national lockdown. A union has warned. Well, then they're gonna have to suffer the consequences. Harsher lockdowns. Where is this? England. Yeah, England is just doomed. I mean, the NHS could vaccinate the entire population in 5 days, but is being hampered by bureaucracy. I really, really doubt that. I really, really doubt that. Jordan's going to start COVID vaccination. If I recall yesterday, certain poor countries are not going to get vaccines. According to the WHO. That's another thing to look out for. I just went through that one. Pope Francis poised to have COVID vaccine as early as next week. I mean, the man is like barely even alive. So, I mean, I guess. Cuba has signed an accord with Iran to transfer the technology for its most advanced COVID vaccine. You know what? I would wonder what kind of vaccine Cuba has at this point. Because I've never heard Cuba about the Cuban vaccine. And carry out last stage clinical trials. Also, they're carrying out their last stage clinical trials of the shot in the Islamic Republic. Yeah, you want vaccines to be in phase 3 because that's when you start to get the real kind of results. Interesting. 21 people in Marsville have tested positive for the new variant. Okay, so here's the problem that I have with this variant. Viruses mutate all the time. We have hundreds of thousands of mutations for this virus. What makes this one special? And what methods were used to prove that it's more transmissive? It has not been done. NervTag, the main paper that the media hyped up at, said they have high confidence that it's substantially it's more transmissible. That isn't a conclusive type of experiment. That doesn't tell me exactly why it is. Just because it spreads more doesn't mean that it's more transmissive. The situation is just already extremely grim. But the media has concluded that this variant is more transmissive. Now, it could be more transmissive. It's just we don't know. Nobody knows at the moment. But I find it very suspicious that governments have been just capitalizing on it to do more lockdowns, when it's not even known for certain, that it's more transmissive. Now, the virus is deadly and it's killing anybody, at least if you're just unlucky enough. But I would like to see more data on what makes these variants more dangerous. I don't see it. 1,000, yeah. UK is just bombing. So there is a breaking new update. In Australia, Victoria has just announced that no new locally transmitted cases have been reported for 23,000 tests in the past 24 hours. Well, that's very lucky, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. So we'll do one more page. There is a summary. Queen of Duke of Edinburgh received vaccination. So vaccines are by priority. So you can't just ask for one, Yeah, Japan is about to... Yeah, so Japan declared a state of emergency. And I'm worried about Japan because I'm worried about my anime. There have been calls for tougher restrictions to be imposed in the UK. Yeah, I bet. The UK second wave could have been less severe had the government taken the action it was advised to. It doesn't really matter because people just don't want to listen. There have been calls to expand state emergency in Japan. Restrictions are imposed in China. So China is still fighting the virus. And so we have to understand that the Communist Chinese Party is evil, wickedly evil. Xi Jinping did a speech for 2021 a couple of days ago, and he said 2020 was an extraordinary year. Now you have to read between the lines, because what did he mean by 2020 is an extraordinary year? I think that he's happy that this virus spread out and did what it did all over the world. Because for basically most people in the world, 2020 was not an extraordinary year. So why would it be for him? Why would it be for the CCP? Now, I also have to say that I have lost all faith in Dr. Lee Maniang and Steve Bannon, because their group has failed to really deliver the type of bombshell revelations they were promising, or I guess telling us that they were going to make. Dr. Lee Maniang released 2 papers, and they didn't really do anything. They didn't do anything meaningful, nothing substantial. And now Miles Guo had to go and apologize the other day because he was wrong about his predictions, and they have taken a huge hit of credibility. And so if they were really serious, if they were really trying to expose the CCP, they would have done so a long time ago. What was taking them so long? They're not doing enough. Nowhere near enough. That's a lot of UK news. So the wife of the French... See, the thing about people that are powerful catching the virus is it's almost boring at this point. New lockdown, new extension, new record of cases, new record of deaths, new politician gets it, new preprint showing some kind of doom posting type news, new this, new that. It's just the same news over and over and over again. So just don't burn yourself out with this. We do have one new update though. What do we got? Oh, I had an update. No, it's not there. No, I think this is the same update. Yeah, so that's kind of where we are now. Some other things that I've heard recently is that people are not regaining back their sense of taste and smell for months, which has caused fear that it might be permanent. And what else has been going on? I think that's all that I have. Um, I could go to page 3. Let's see, page 1. Oh, I saw it up here. And then, of course, the WHO, they had a team of people sent to Wuhan to investigate the virus. That fell apart. That's not a surprise. India about to start vaccination. It priority given to about 30 million healthcare and frontline workers. Wow. India hopes to inoculate 300 million of its 1.35 billion people free of charge in the first 6 to 8 months of this year. If you guys have kept up with vaccinations, Israel is currently in the lead with the most vaccinations. So if we were to hear anything major about side effects, it would be coming from Israel first. I think that's it for now. So today's the weekend. The weekend is when we always. So the thing about the weekend is that people always say, "Oh, the numbers are going down. The numbers are lower." That always happens on the weekends. You know, usually it isn't around Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when we start seeing the really, really big jumps in numbers because the numbers are just catching up. Fraudsters are targeting elderly and the vulnerable people with a fake vaccine. Wow. That's ridiculous. England's chief medical officer is urging the public to act like you've got it. I mean, that's kind of like we were supposed to be thinking at the beginning. You have to act as if you already have the virus because you have to be very cautious. Also in the UK, there are so many people getting sick that they have been using the police to transport patients because there's not enough ambulances. UK lockdown 2 lakhs. That sounds like a reach for power there. See, because when it comes to the virus, it's not just a pandemic of disease, it's a pandemic of fascism. There are governments taking full advantage of this virus to have a tighter grip on their people. And it's okay to see both ways. It's not one or the other. We already saw all this. Yeah, temperatures have been really low. We're seeing a lot of record temperatures. But that's all I got. That's just a quick update of what's going on. It's getting worse. It's getting bad. I don't even think they've really put in the effects of Christmas and New Year's have still not been felt yet. So the end of January, February are going to be very intense. And these vaccines will show whether or not it'll show any kind of containment. But thank you for listening and take care. I'll see you next time, my faithful 3 viewers.